Hey guys, John from the John Muir Show here, and let me start by saying Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. Let's not forget that Jesus is the reason for the season. Let's spend some time reflecting on that, as I'd said on Friday's show, but also do enjoy the time you get to spend with family and friends and all the merriment that comes along with it. Now, since we don't actually have live shows on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, I figured, well, if there are any of you out there who are interested in hearing my thoughts, just in case that does happen, I wanted to give you something that you can. So here's a blog post and a video of recapping everything that's going on in 2018. I mean, look, quite frankly, you're probably sick of some of the family members right now. You probably have some of the liberals who have already been staying, some liberal in-laws or something at the house. You don't want to spend more time with them, and you want some material. So once you get to prime time, that would be the Christmas dinner table, that you are ready. You've got an arsenal of stuff to whip out and say, conservatism over liberalism. So here you go. We're going to talk about the top 5 things that happened in the year 2018, at least as I see them. So why don't we get into it? Number 5, I'm going to say it would be the politicizing of the mass shootings that we had seen. Of course, early in the year, we had a few very notable mass shootings, most notably the one that happened down in Parkland, Florida. And, well, it's certainly sad that these tragedies keep happening. Heck, I wish that there was something we could do to just say one of these things never going to happen again. But sadly, that is not the case. Because what do you always have present in these mass terror attacks? You have a bad actor. You have somebody who has bad intentions, somebody who has no regard for human life whatsoever. And you know what? Regardless of whatever gun laws we put in place, because you've seen so many liberals out there, so many prominent liberals saying, oh yeah, gun control, gun control, gun control. Let's strip some law-abiding Americans of their Second Amendment rights because of these shootings we've seen. But no matter what law you put in place, it's not going to matter, because these are lawless individuals that we're talking about that carry out these acts. Do you really think one more law is going to stop them? They're already breaking a ton of laws, even more serious laws. They're committing Class A felonies when they take human lives. So you know what? They can talk all they want about let's implement these gun control laws. Yeah, the bad actors are not going to care. And no matter what you do, you're always going to be able to find guns illegally. You're always going to be able to find another way to carry out whatever sinister intentions you have. But yet to this point, the left still insists, no, gun control is the answer. Well, us conservatives continue to wait at the table, hoping that our friends on the left will join us to have a mature conversation about this matter. Moving along to number 4, it would be the elections that we had in the state of Wisconsin, the midterm elections, and the subsequent special legislative session in Madison. All right, so it's no secret that the midterm elections in the state of Wisconsin, the statewide races, huge wins for the Democrat Party as they were victorious in all of the statewide elections. Tammy Baldwin held on to her Senate seat. You had Tony Evers and Josh Kaul being elected the state's next governor and attorney general, respectively. And then after those elections, you had, as I'd mentioned, that special legislative session that took place where the GOP-led Assembly and Senate said that they were going to enact some policies that would limit the powers of the governor and attorney general's offices, seemingly because they don't like the people who are coming into those offices, Evers and Kaul. And as we've said on the John Muir Show, I'm personally not a huge fan of all of the things that my fellow Republicans have done. I believe that when you win an election, the winners of the election should get what they want. And you know what, even though I don't agree with it, even though I didn't vote for them, the majority of people in the state voted Evers and Kaul. Let them have what they wanted. That's how elections go. Sometimes we like the outcome, sometimes we don't, but we got to deal with it. But nonetheless, even though that's how I feel, so many Democrats are just so outraged by what the Republicans in Madison did. And that right there was a very notable point, because keep in mind that so many of these Democrats who are saying how outrageous it is that Republicans would go to limit some of the powers of Evers and Kaul, yeah, these are the same Democrats who voted back in 2010 or advocated for back in 2010 limiting the powers of the incoming Republican governor, Scott Walker. Yeah, Democrats, when they had control in Madison, they themselves held a special legislative session. So when it's been all these Democrats now talking about how horrible it is what Republicans just did in Madison in the past couple of weeks, they have no reason to complain. They did the same exact thing, and don't let them forget about it. Number 3, it would be the witch hunt of one special prosecutor, Bob Mueller. All right, so this time last year, where were we? Well, special counsel Bob Mueller had spent roughly 7 months looking into what we were told is alleged Trump-Russia collusion leading up to the 2016 election. And after 7 months, he had no proof of alleged Trump-Russia collusion leading up to the 2016 election. Where are we right now? Oh yeah, we're roughly 19 months into Special Counsel Bob Mueller's investigation into alleged Trump-Russia collusion, and 19 months later, we still have no evidence that there was Trump-Russia collusion. Guess what? Because it did not happen. It is abundantly clear at this point. It's been more than a year and a half the guy's been on the job now. He's had himself as well as an entire team, a dozen plus of his fellow Trump-hating partisan liberals going after this matter, trying to take down a president that they and their fellow powerful elitist liberal friends do not like because he is a threat to their power with his whole Drain the Swamp campaign. He's actually getting things done for the people of the United States of America, which is against the powerful interests of the left. So you've got them going hardcore trying to take down this man. It became abundantly clear they're not even looking for proof of alleged Trump-Russia collusion anymore, that they're just trying to say, okay, here's Donald Trump, let's investigate every single aspect of his life. While we're at it, let's investigate every single aspect of all of the people associated with his campaign and his administration, their lives as well. See if we can take the man down. It's cost us north of $25 million in taxpayer money. Also, a bunch of liberals led by Bob Mueller can try and act out their political fantasies of taking down Donald Trump, a duly elected president. Hopefully 2019, the year that it finally comes to an end. Moving along to number 2, it would be the Supreme Court confirmation process of one Brett Kavanaugh. So the left was not very happy that Brett Kavanaugh was nominated by President Trump, as presidents are allowed to do, to fill a vacancy on the U.S. Supreme Court because they saw, oh, what's Brett Kavanaugh? Yeah, he's a pretty impressive man with a pretty impressive judicial record. He's shown himself to be somebody who is going to say, you know what, it doesn't matter what my personal beliefs are. I've got a job, and that is to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. So you know what, that's what I'm going to do when I'm on the bench. Yeah, it turns out nowadays liberals are only willing to accept liberal activist judges, the kind of people that will go around and say, oh, you know what my goal is? Screw the Constitution. Whatever it is I can do to forward the Democrat Party's agenda from the bench, oh, I don't care how inappropriate it is, I'm all in on it. Those are the only justices that the left, it turns out, will accept these days. So they did everything they could to take down Kavanaugh. And when they couldn't take him down in his normal hearing process, what do? They dragged the man's character through the mud. He's a man of good character, but you had so many powerful leftists trying to push this whole thing. Brett Kavanaugh, oh, he rapes women, he drugs women. It's just so terrible. You know, even though the FBI's investigated him half a dozen times, nope, they missed it. He was the guy who was leading the raping and drugging ring of small-town Maryland back in the 1980s. It was so absurd. You know what all their claims came with? Zero evidence. And thank goodness that story had a good conclusion, and Brett Kavanaugh, the good man he is, was rightfully seated on the Supreme Court of the United States. And number 1, it would have to be illegal migration. It's been a story for the entire year. We've seen multiple huge caravans of Central American migrants come to the U.S. southern border, and it's really shown us the divide between conservatives and liberals. President Trump, his conservative allies on Capitol Hill, you know what they've kept at the forefront? The safety, the well-being of the American people. Their financial well-being, their physical well-being, that is what they've been fighting for and saying, no, we're here to protect the American people. We are not here to let the world's population come into our country illegally, completely defying our federal laws. And thank goodness we've had President Trump and conservative allies. Heck, the Trump administration's been able to enact some policies that have been able to keep some of these caravan members from entering our country illegally, as you saw with all those individuals from the caravans that came this fall that have not been able to get into the United States of America. What do we have on the left? Oh yeah, we've got Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and their allies pushing for open borders. Yep, just let everybody in, because you know what? To the left, screw the well-being of the American people, screw the well-being of their own constituents. Nope, all that matters is the elites of the Democrat Party's power, and oh, if we open up the borders, look at all of those future Democrat voters we could bring in. Who cares that they're going to be a collective financial burden to the American taxpayer? Who cares that a lot of these people are going to go on to commit further crimes, violent crimes, kill American citizens? Nope, Schumer and Pelosi and their friends' power is more important to them. And it shows us so clearly what we get. Conservatives who care about the well-being of this country and its people, and elite liberals who most certainly do not. That's the top 5. You can comment if you agree, disagree, whatever the case may be, and I look forward to catching up with you again in the near future here. Until next time, I'm out.